What can't you travel without? Do you prefer solo travel or with someone else? Beer or wine? City or countryside? What do you love the most about traveling? What do you like the least about traveling? Do you like to plan your day ahead or explore a place randomly? What was one of your worst experiences when traveling? Hello and welcome to my channel. I am your host Yanika, speaking about traveling and positivity into life. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell for weekly videos. Today's video, it's a Q&A. You asked the question and I have the answer for you. Some weeks ago I did a story on Instagram and also on Facebook page. And actually I got questions from you and now I'm going to give you the answers for them. It's related to travel and adventure. So let's get started. What can't you travel without? Obviously it is a passport and also I think my mobile phone, because my mobile phone actually it's my camera mostly, and also I keep all the documents, especially online, and also the airplane tickets. Do you prefer solo travel or with someone else? They both have their ups and downs, but actually solo traveling gives me the freedom that I can choose wherever I want to go. And traveling with someone else, there is always choices to ask what they like and what they don't like. So I can't choose what do I prefer, because they both have the ups and downs, as I said. And I believe that with someone else as well, it's nice to have more adventure and fun and share that experience with someone. So I can't say which one I prefer. Beer or wine? I like both of them actually, but when I've been traveling, I'll try to try both, especially the local ones of that country. To choose, I think it's wine. City or countryside? Countryside, definitely. I go to cities, yes, but the countryside gives me more energy and I feel more myself, more calm, peaceful, and that's what I love. Tea or coffee? Tea. Definitely tea. Dorm or private room? Doesn't make a difference. I tried both. So dorm, it gives you the chance to meet more people and it's a bit cheaper in some countries. So yes, it's a dorm. And private room, you have a little bit of privacy. Sometimes you need privacy while traveling. What is the most beautiful animal you have ever seen? I think I saw quite different animals while traveling abroad, but I think I was really impressed is with a crocodile. I went in a zoo, I think it was in Italy, and there was this crocodile, very huge, that was passing on the river or on the pond that they had, and it was really enormous. I really enjoyed looking at this crocodile. What do you love the most about traveling? Meeting people and exploring the country with locals. Definitely, I love that. That's the most thing that I love about traveling, because it's always learning something new. What do you like the least about traveling? Obviously, there is something that it is the least when you travel. I think packing up, doing the suitcase. Apart, nowadays, I got used to have the least things to pack, so I'll try to be minimalist. I think it's the least that I don't like about traveling. Have you ever got lost in a place while you were traveling? Good question. Actually, when I traveled solo for the first time, so I was around 20 years old, I went to France, and actually, yes, at that time I didn't have a mobile phone with maps, so it was quite difficult to find a way back to the train station with only the map in my hand. So yes, I got lost when I was traveling. Explain the feeling of skydiving. So you watched the skydiving video that I have on this channel.
So we will go with this helicopter up. No, just kidding. We go by airplane. So from Malta to Palermo, huh? In the sky.
Yes.
Great.
Va bene, okay.
So excited.
The feeling of the skydiving was pretty much exciting. I can't say I was scared. It was really something that you can't explain. Going to the plane of the skydiving was really exciting, and even the people, you are trusting their experience, and it was something that when you're on the plane going up, so you're about to jump, it was pretty much like what is happening. You see others that are experienced jumping from the plane, and then it's your next step to jump, and it was pretty amazing. And the feeling of excitement was pretty much with no more comments, because definitely it was the nicest experience that I really had. I don't think for me it wasn't that scary, no. Do you like to plan your day ahead or explore a place randomly? This question, I get it a lot. Myself, I'm a type of person that I'm very random, so if I want to go that place, I'll just go to that place. Even while booking a trip, normally it will be just a random one if it will be on a budget. And obviously there are trips that I have to plan beforehand, where I have to go, what we have to do. But when I travel solo, it's more random rather than planning ahead. But when traveled with someone, yes, there will be planning mostly. What was one of your worst experiences when traveling? Any lessons learned afterwards? Definitely, I had one worst experience 2 years ago, I think now, when I was in Spain, and I had my bag on a bench, and I was actually filming something, and there was no one in the area, in that park that I was doing. And when I returned to my bag, just 1-2 meters away from me, I didn't find this bag, and I was literally went crazy because I had all my stuff in that bag. So I had my charger of my phone, my power bank, my jacket, the keys of the hotel, actually everything in this bag. And I really went crazy. And I was traveling alone, so yeah. And also I have to mention, I hadn't had an insurance. So imagine being there, I didn't know what to do. Thank God I had my phone in my hand doing the filming, because it saved a little bit of my life. And also my passport was at the hotel, so I was a bit safe, because the next day I was traveling back to home to Malta. So yeah, I was a bit freaking out. And that's on my solo travels. And I have another experience, so I'm gonna mention it. I don't think it's worse because it went on the adventure side. This was a very long time ago. I was traveling with my family. It was 10 years ago now. And we were on a 1 week trip. I think it was in Italy, yes, in Italy. And we went to the airport. We were on time for the check-in and everything. And the airline was doing the check-in for all destinations. And eventually, this thing happened that we had to wait after all the queue for all destinations, and our gate was soon closing. So eventually we went to ask the lady about our check-in because we knew that our gate is going to close soon, but she kept saying to us, you have to wait in the queue. And I remember that the time was passing, and afterwards we hear the announcement that our flight is closed to Malta from Milan. That's why I remember. And eventually we were pissed off. Actually, we went to ask the other lady, and she said, you should have walked to us to tell us about that you had to check in. And we said, we have spoken to the other lady, and she said you had to wait. And never mind, putting the story very to the adventure side, we had nothing to do, we had lost our flight, and actually I think my parents and the friends, the other family that we were with, they started checking about other flights to come to Malta, and the flights were around 500 euros each per person. I think we were 7 people, so imagine 500 euros each, and they were in 2 days, so it was going to be very expensive to come to Malta with that flight. So we didn't take that flight, and then we decided to do something else. We checked the trains to Rome and other flights from Rome to Malta, but we
ġejna f'Terminal 1, sibna t-train fejn jaqtaw it-tickets, ħanna jiena u Adrian, u kif qalilna, no train, strike.
The experience was that there was no trains because they were on strike. So imagine all these things happening in a sudden. And then I think I had an idea that we rent a van for us, because we had a van for 7 people, so we rent a van again. And then we went to the car rentals, and we asked them for a van to rent, and they said that we have to book 3 days in advance. So we were like in a bit of shock to rent a van. Listen, this happened now and we need a van now. And then we tried to convince them, eventually convinced them. They had a van that was available at that moment because it just checked in, and they said, we clean it for you and you can take it. My father was saying like, no, don't clean it, we have to hurry and leave now. So that's what happened. We just left Milan with that van, and we drove all the way down to Sicily for about 18-20 hours to catch the ferry, the catamaran from Pozzallo, I think yes, Pozzallo. And we eventually arrived in Malta in the next day at least. And it wasn't that expensive like the flight, definitely not. Yes, that's another worst experience, but that was at least in a group. And eventually it came into an adventure and a story to say nowadays. How to find the perfect travel destination? It depends. I love traveling quite to different countries. I can't say a perfect travel destination. It depends what I want. If I want to go in countryside, I try to look for the best countrysides and to be on a budget as well. That's another story. So I believe that I can't say I find the best or perfect travel destination. I'll try to research and make my online research from other travelers, reviews that experience that country, and then, well, that's how I choose my destination. What does travel means for you? So I did a whole video in the month of June, so please feel free to have a look at it. I will put it on the side of this video. And to keep it short, travel means a lot to me. It makes my life happy, and yes, I think traveling is something that I believe that creates a lot of memories and meet a lot of people and experience the real life more than other experiences or such things that we have in life. Do you imagine yourself you can never travel again in your life? I don't think so. Somehow I'll do something to keep on traveling all my life. Even in the period that we had COVID-19, so this virus stopped us from traveling. Yeah, I don't imagine myself not traveling. So this experience that I had done more than 7 months not traveling, it's kept my tensed and that I was missing something in me. So I don't imagine myself not traveling. If in traveling there will be something that is life risking but gives you much fun, will you still take it? Definitely yes. That's the part of life. Take the risk or just go home. That's what I believe. And yes, to have fun, I believe that you have to take a bit of risk and adventure and go all out on the experience. Will you live abroad forever? Good question as well. I can't choose at the moment to live forever abroad, but if I want to change the country, I think yes, I would love to change the country because I love change and I also love to experience new cultures and countries. What you like most in traveling? Shopping, clubbing, bars, live shows, entertainments, learning new things. Traveling is about everything. I don't travel for shopping or clubbing mostly. I love to travel to experience the locals and what the locals do in the country. So yes, that's the most thing that I like when traveling. And learning new things is one of them. What country is your favorite? I can't be biased here. I only traveled to 16 countries up until now. The most common that I traveled to was UK and Turkey. I traveled twice as well, and there was other countries that I really liked most than those two. So I can't choose which one is my favorite though. Is there any country that you think that your country, so it's Malta, is better than it? I can't compare from one country to another because the countries have their own advantages and disadvantages. Once when I was traveling in Greece, but this was a lot of years ago, 10 years ago, more or less, I was on a train and this train wasn't that pleasant, so I wasn't very feeling comfortable on this train. So I can't say about that. And also when I traveled to Sicily, I had waited for about 3 hours for a bus. It was on a weekend and they said it was better to rent a car in Sicily. So those are disadvantages, but I know those two countries that have their good advantages of their countries. And my country has its own ups and downs as well. So I can't say there is a country that my country is better than another. Did you book your next trip? After 7 months? No, I haven't booked my next trip yet. And that's not me. But I haven't stopped looking where I want to go. And I'm not going to discover anything yet where I want to go. So I would keep you exciting what will happen next and my adventures. What's the longest plane ride you have ever been on? I think when I went to Nepal, it was about 7 hours from Istanbul to Kathmandu. And then we had another flight from Malta to Istanbul and a layover, but I'm going to count from Kathmandu to Nepal because it was 7 hours and even back. So that was the longest plane ride. What are your top 3 traveling essentials? As I mentioned before, because this is a related question to what you can't travel without, mobile phone and passports, and also water. I love carrying the water everywhere with me. In fact, I had invested in a bottle of metal, the aluminium ones, that will keep my water a bit colder, so for a long time. So yes, these are the 3 essentials that I don't travel without. Have you ever lived abroad? Yes, I lived abroad in London, outskirts of London for 6 months. Yes, that was the longest that I have been far away from home. And definitely I would love to do it again, maybe in a different country. So that's are the questions that I had from you a couple of weeks ago. Follow me on Instagram for further Q&As in the future. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like my Facebook page. You will find all the links in the description below. And thank you for hanging out and watching all this video. I want to mention 3 of my followers today that are Martin, Matthew and Jane. I want to thank them from my bottom of my heart that they keep watching all these videos, and also for private messaging me about travel, for travel advice and such more conversations related to this adventure. So, thank you for being here once again. Stay tuned and see you next week. Ciao, ciao.